You're listening to the Bourbon Nerds Podcast, episode 12, Straight Outta Barton, a 1792 story.
Straight out of Barton.
Straight Outta Barton. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We are coming to you on Super Bowl Sunday. This should be
Sunday.
So, Garrett, I have a question for you. If I was going to vote for a president, I think a president should make the day after Super Bowl Sunday a holiday. What do you think about that?
I mean, you're close to President's Day the next week, so I don't know if you could do 2 3-day weekends in a row, but I get it. You want 3 days off.
Yeah,
absolutely. 2 weeks in a row, but
I think it's a great idea. So
make it a bourbon holiday or something. Be like, this is Bourbon Day.
Yeah, Bourbon Day. Leave us alone, guys. I need my beauty sleep. But we have a lot to talk about today.
Lots and lots, guys. You better gear up and put your seatbelts on because we're on for the races today.
Yep, we might get a little loud. We might get a little angry, and I'm gonna spill my heart out a little bit to you guys.
Tearing up my heart
when I'm with you. When we are apart, I feel it too. I watched Trolls with the Family, the third one, last night.
I haven't seen any of the Trolls.
Dude,
Daniel really likes, what's the Sparkly Diamonds one? What's his name?
I know.
He has like a little rap thing.
Yeah, he has a little
really
baby too.
Character.
Now that in the third one, it's like really funny.
Oh.
So, all right. Well, let's kick it off. We're going to talk about 1792 from Barrel to Brain, and Nerd Rage. We're going to talk about some scary Scream movies and Captain America, which is coming out soon. Whiskey Sideline. We're going to talk about a blockbuster trade, some of the trade deadlines, a little bit of NFL. There's been quite a bit of that's happening.
Some of Cody's favorite news from the NBA trade deadline. Get ready, guys.
Don't get me worked up. Yeah, I will try my best not to cry through that one. Pop Culture Report. We're going to talk about the Oscars and Grammys. We've got Garrett's got an axe to grind, and Neat and Balanced. We're going to talk about, again, going to feature some meal prepping and some recipes. And last call, we're going to share some hot news coming out in bourbon world and a gift we received from a distillery in Texas.
And we also had a recent Super Bowl drop that we'll talk about and some people that we met there. So
yep,
some interesting things coming up.
Yeah, we've got a lot. Again, like I said, we got a lot to talk about. So let's go ahead and dive in. Let's go ahead and from barrel to brain, you want to go ahead and kick us off?
Well, we want to talk about these bourbons real quick, don't we?
Oh,
what's
maybe.
Up? Yeah, let's talk about the bourbons,
do we have bourbon
man.
in front of us?
You're just rushing in there. Now,
I know.
Do you not like drinking bourbon?
No.
What's your problem?
I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to disappoint everyone out there. We have two exciting bourbons. One I'm going to feature is a 1792 Bottle and Bond. This is one of my favorite Bottle and Bond bottles. It's a go-to. I highly recommend. You probably are like, 1792, I don't know. I'm not sure. It doesn't get a lot of talked about, but I know a lot of people like 1792, and I am one of those people. And I know you're like, well, these guys like everything. No, we don't. We actually don't like a lot of stuff. But so 1792 is 100 proof, 50% alcohol by volume. The mash bill is 75% corn, 15% rye, and 10% malted barley. MSRP is around $45, really depending on where you buy this. So price can vary. But yeah, it's very good. Again, it's 1792 to kind of give you an overview, and we'll talk specifically about the two that we're drinking. But kind of get a banana, if you ever had Runts candy, I always get like a, artificial banana note, a little bit of caramel. So, but I haven't drank either one. Well, I've had these before, but I haven't tried these yet. We're going to drink these on the podcast. And then again, before the end, we're going to crown a winner. So what do you got in front of you, Garrett?
So right now we're drinking on, so we have the Bottle and Bottom, but we also have the 1792 single barrel, which this is the first time I've ever having, which I didn't own this until a couple weeks ago. I'm just realizing my label is scratching off, which is great. This one is 49.3% alcohol by volume, which is 98.6 proof. So a little bit less than your Bottle and Bond. They aren't age stated, but it's said to be around that 4-year mark, similar to the Bottle and Bond. But honestly, I've just drank both of these and they're very similar. There's a lot of similarities going on between these two.
Yeah, so I just took a drink of both of them. The Bottle and Bond, I'm getting a very sweet banana runts flavor, and then the single barrel, I'm getting a little bit more caramel banana note. So
it's a little bit smoother too. So there's a little harshness on the Bottle and Bond at first sip. So we'll see how that sticks around or not.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and dive in from barrel to brain. Go ahead and kick us off on some 1792 knowledge.
Okay. Well, 1792 is a premium bourbon owned by the Sazerac Company. Obviously, Sazerac owns like everything.
Yes.
They're a global beverage alcohol giant. and they took over the brand and its distillery in 2009. Formerly known as Ridgewood Reserve, which I didn't know that. The 1792 brand is produced at Barton 1792 Distillery in Bardstown, Kentucky, which I love. I can't wait to go visit Bardstown. I think that's going to be great.
Excited.
Although the distillery was established in 1879, founder Thomas S. Moore, which he has a bourbon. You have a Thomas S. Moore, don't you?
I do. I have the port cast, and it's. I actually really like it. And what if you can find those, because a lot of people, they're not selling. They're not. I guess they're not super popular. But that port cast one smells like Dr. Pepper, and it's yummy.
It's interesting that he was the founder of this. I didn't know that either until we started doing this. But he aimed to honor a special event in bourbon history when he named the distillery after something that happened nearly a century before, which a lot of you might not know. I'm sure if you're from Kentucky, you probably know this. But June 15th, 1972 is the first day Kentucky was legally recognized as a state. In fact, the Kentucky is widely acknowledged as the birthplace of bourbon. Although not a legal requirement, Kentucky remains the unofficial home of America's spirit to this day. It helps set the scene for the bourbon capital of the world. That's quotations there. The last thing I have is Barton Distillery was established in 1879, which makes it the oldest fully operating distillery in Bardstown, boasting a 196-acre facility. The distillery houses 29 barrel aging warehouses and a still house. So Cody might have a little bit more information for us.
Yeah, a couple other historical significance to the 1792 year. We talked about Kentucky being declared as a state. The U.S. Mint was founded in 1792. That was the beginning of the French Revolutionary War, and it was the death to John Paul Jones.
John Jones.
Which is a naval war hero that a lot of people talk about, and I'm not going to go into his history. We can talk about him another time. But yeah, there's some interesting stuff. Again, the bourbon was originally, so it was called Ridgewood Reserve 1792, which was originally released in 2002 under the name Ridgewood Reserve 1792. Kind of repeating myself there. Ridgewood Reserve in 2004, Brown-Forman sued Barton for trademark infringement, claiming that the name and bottle design of Ridgewood Reserve were too similar to their Woodford Reserve brand. Barton changed the name to Ridgemont Reserve at that point. And then the name was eventually changed to 1792 Bourbon, dropping the Ridgemont Reserve. The Sazerac Company acquired the brand again in distillery in 2009. So I think that's really interesting. And then we kind of talked about, just to give an overview of the bottles and kind of where we like, again, if you get off put by a banana note, this could be one that you may not be a fan of, but again, it's not extremely prevalent. It's just something that I get consistently of 1792. So if I do a blind and stuff, I usually can pick it up. Again, Jack Daniels has also been known to have a banana note too as well. So there's some comparison that you could maybe get those mixed up. So 1792 has a small batch. They have a bottle and bond. They have a single barrel. They have the sweet wheat. They have a 12-year, which is probably my favorite overall. Again, I need to do a blind. They also have a high rye. I think that's the only one I don't have. In the full proof, which is really good. That's usually a fan favorite.
That one's my favorite, but I haven't tried the 12-year, so I don't have a reference for that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we're probably going to do a video of all the 1792s, and I'll have to pop the 12-year so we can.
Let's do it. Just be looking out for that bad boy.
Yeah, we can knock it out for sure. But yeah, I'm a big fan of 1792 overall. I highly recommend it, especially the bottle and bond. So in the summer, again, we drink bourbon neat and a Glencairn. That's where we recommend to get a full experience. Doesn't mean you can't put ice in it. Doesn't mean you can't put a drop of water in it to cool it off if you're drinking a hotter bourbon. But in the summer, if it's extremely hot, and we live in the Texoma area, so it gets 100 plus. I do like to drink bottle and bond with a large ice cube. It is very refreshing. It's one of my favorite summer bourbons to drink on ice. So again, it's very easy pour. I think it's a great, especially the small batch. I would recommend starting around there. But if you're newer to bourbon or you haven't tried a 1792 product, it's very affordable. There was a while where it was very hard to find these, but they're starting to pop up. The store picks of these, I have been a huge fan of. A lot of places are doing store picks. I've got a couple store picks from Big Daddy's and Durant. I've got one, I think, from Lucky's Liquor. Yeah, the small batch. And then a couple others. So, recommend definitely recommend 1792. I think it's a great pour.
I didn't realize this full proof was 125 proof. That's a lot higher than I thought it was.
That's a spicy meatball.
Another good recommendation, which is a little easier to find now, but it was a lot harder, is the sweet wheat. It's about 91 proof, but it's very good, very balanced. It's a good wheater. Maybe a good one to kind of get into your wheat journey if you can find it. Unfortunately, it is one of the harder 1792s to get, and people really love it. People trade for it all the time.
All right. Well, you got anything else on 1792?
How are you feeling on these two so far?
I'm leaning towards the single barrel. It seems more complex.
I'm going kind of back and forth. Like one, I'll do a side by side, and then the single barrel kind of is better, and then the next time the bottom. They're both very good and very close together. So it's kind of hard for me to pick right now.
Yeah, I'm not ready to crown a winner. You know, I love crowning my winners.
I mean, I feel like this foolproof is just going to end up winning in the end, but
yeah, that's why we didn't do the side by side with the foolproof.
Yeah, side by side with single barrel and bottle and bond. I think the single barrel probably comes out on top, but bottle and bond puts up a good fight.
Yeah,
and we'll be drinking the foolproof and sweet wheat later, but we'll just do the side by side of crowning winner of just these two. We'll put these other ones because the sweet wheat and foolproof are kind of on their own level.
Agreed, but I am enjoying drinking both of these. Like, they're good. Like,
yeah, no, I like 1792. I know you thought I don't know why.
Because you hate.
I own a lot of. Like, obviously, I own a lot of 1792 stuff.
I just give you a hard time.
No, I think it's just because it did good in a blind, right? I wasn't sure about it, and then it ended up doing pretty good in a blind that we did not long ago.
Yeah, it did very good
before we started in the podcast. It ended up getting like second or third for me.
Yeah. Yeah,
that, the blue note kind of caught me off guard.
Yeah, the blue. I think that was your third. I forgot what else. What won that blind? Do you remember?
I don't know.
Was it was the bottle and bond blind that we did?
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Which one won that one?
I don't know. It'll come to me later on. We'll go back to that.
That was a long time ago. We need to do more of those blinds.
All right. Well, we're gonna switch gears. We're gonna move into Nerd Rage.
Raging, baby.
Yeah, we got a little bit. Garrett's got some juicy stuff to talk about. I didn't realize he was such a big Scream fan. I should have known that because he loves horror movies. I've met
the cast like 500 times.
Yeah, like 500 times. I've only met him 0 times.
Just full of like signatures and stuff.
So I have a friend, BJ, that can do the Scream face. I'll have to try to get him on video or something.
Scream face? What do you mean?
Like, he can make his face look like the Scream face. It's awesome.
You can like make it distort it way down there.
Well, not that like that, but I mean, like, it's pretty funny. He used to do that as a party trick, I guess you could say.
Well, and I actually want to get, which I'm hoping, fingers crossed for Valentine's Day, but Matthew Lillard actually he's involved in this whiskey brand called Quest's End, which is a D&D inspired one, and I'd love to get a bottle of that and talk about it on the podcast because I think it'd be really cool. He wears that hat. Like, if you ever see an interview recently, he's always wearing a Quest's End hat. I got to talk to him a little bit about it when I met him the last time, but I think that'd be really cool to go into a little bit of detail and try the bourbon.
Yeah, I think maybe we do this as exclusive content for some of our Patreon once we get that up and launched. But I'd like to do a D&D episode. I've never played D&D. But
I haven't either, but I've always been really interested. Maybe we can do a Bourbon Nerds D&D.
Yeah, a little D&D theme. I've got some clients and friends that dabble in a little D&D. I'm sure we could get somebody on the podcast to talk about it.
So what is your favorite Scream movie? You said you've seen all of them but the last one, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So do you have a favorite?
The first one?
I mean, that's a classic answer. I mean, classic Scream, it really kind of brought back the whole slasher thing. You know, Drew Barrymore dying in the first 5 minutes. Nobody expected that, which she was actually originally cast to play the main character, Sydney, and I think some kind of scheduling things happened, but then she got enough availability where she could do the opening scene.
Hello, Sydney.
Yeah. Yeah, and then she's like, Jason. I'm like, no, it's Jason's mom, you dummy.
Yeah.
Did you even watch that movie?
That's the best.
That's a good one because that gets a lot of people. They're like, oh yeah, Jason Voorhees is the killer in Friday the 13th. I'm like, yeah, except the first one. They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, you don't watch those movies, you liar.
Yeah, no.
You would know that if you watched them.
I said that, I think, at some point too. I was one of those guys. So
Jason's mom, man.
Jason's mom has got
psycho.
It going on.
Yeah. But Wes Craven, I mean, he does, which he directed all of them except for the last two. R.I.P. Wes Craven. He died shortly after the fourth one came out. And Kevin Williamson's written 1, 2, 4, and actually Kevin Williamson is writing and directing this new one. So I'm really excited about that. So the third one is a very controversial controversial because there's a lot of things with the third one. I want to just go into that one a little bit here. So the third one originally was supposed to be a continuation from the first and second one, where Stu, you remember Stu from the first one?
Oh yeah,
Matthew
Stu.
Lillard.
Yeah, of course.
So he was actually supposed to be developing this cult of ghost faces from prison or from a mental institution or wherever he is. And yeah, there was going to be like a whole cult of him. And I thought that would be really cool. Well, then there were some scheduling issues between Nev Campbell and Kevin Williamson. And then Kevin was like, well, obviously you have to take Nev Campbell. And so that happened. And then also Columbine happened. And so the studio was really nervous about doing another movie about killer kids in high school. So they changed the setting to Hollywood. And then during the production of the movie, they filmed basically the whole movie with two killers. And then last minute they decided, you know what, we're just going to do one killer. So a lot of times you're just like, there's no physical possibility that he could be here and here at the same time. So that's an interesting thing. There's a lot of interesting things about Scream. Like in the second one, the roommate and the boyfriend were supposed to be the killers, and then they changed it because the script got leaked. So that was a really cool thing. And so now they don't even give the end of the script to the actors really until it's about time to film those scenes. So just a couple little fun things about Scream. Now, if you pay any attention to the news of Scream, you will know that they've announced some recent casting and saying that I think his name is Scott Foley, who was Roman in the third one, but he got cast to come back and play in the third one, which he got shot in the head. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. And then Matthew Lillard is coming back.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm very excited about that. Once you told, because I didn't know, I don't do research on Scream movies or anything like that. You're the horror guy, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, at this point, I wait for you to tell me about horror movie stuff because you're extremely knowledgeable. I trust your judgment. I don't know. I still haven't seen Killer Clowns in Space or whatever that movie, but we're gonna bridge.
We're gonna watch Knights of Badass too because I think you'd love that one.
Yeah, I think I would too. The way you describe it, but Matthew Lillard coming back, that I am excited to watch the new one because of that.
I mean, Billy coming back is like the ghost and the father of the Melissa Barrera's character in the last two was really cool to see. Yeah. The de-aging was a little weird. But it's really hard to do de-aging like perfectly. But so here's my theory and I would love for the Stu cult thing to come happen because you kind of get little bits. Like you said, you didn't watch the last one, which actually hints a lot at the cult. So at the very beginning, kill the guy does the kill, like your basic Scream, right?
Yo, killer, kill.
And then he takes his mask off, and you're like, wait, what's going on? And it's the dude who played Flash Thompson in Spider-Man. Tony Ravioli. I don't know his name. And then he goes to his apartment. He's talking to who he thinks is roommate on the phone about, we're here to kill Tara, and and then him and his roommate end up getting killed by the actual killers. And so it's a really cool opening scene that hadn't ever been done before. It's just really original. And then Kirby from the fourth movie, Hayden Panettiere's character, comes back, and she's an FBI agent tracking these ghost face killings around the country. Like there's this cult going on. So they're kind of hinting at the cult thing. And so I'm hoping that's what ends up happening. But the reason I think they're bringing Roman back in is hopefully, I think the opening kill might be Maureen Prescott, who is Sydney's mom, who was killed by Billy and Stu, but was but kind of was guided by Roman. I think that opening scene might be Maureen's death and kind of Billy and Stu and Roman doing it, which would be really cool. Like you wouldn't expect it until they're like, "Oh, this is Maureen Prescott. Holy crap, that's really cool." So I wouldn't be surprised if Skeet Ulrich also comes back. Now, another interesting thing about the fourth one, and I'll try not to drag this on too much because I could talk about this all day, but the original idea, the fourth one is going to start a trilogy, and in the fifth one, Jill Roberts, who was the bad guy in the fourth one, was supposed to come back and be in witness protection or something, and someone was going to be stalking her. So I also wouldn't be surprised if she came back, but I don't know. There's a lot of things they could do. Kevin Williamson's the original writer and he's directing, so he kind of has free reign for everything. I'm really excited to see what they do. It comes out next February, so we have to wait a year.
Oh man.
But they're currently filming now. There's a lot of things they could do with it. Like I said, I also could see they announced the twins coming back. I could also see them being the opening kill, which would not be expected. Okay. And kind of get rid of the last two movies because Tara and Sam aren't going to be back. It'd be kind of interesting how they do that. But yeah, those are just some of my theories I have. I think that it's possible that there could be the cult of Ghostface thing where we see, like the last movie I said, that might be the first one where there's more than 2 killers and then there'd be 3 killers.
Yeah.
And then I actually called Bailey and I can't remember the son's name, but I ended up calling those 2. I just didn't call who the third one was. But it ended up being they were Richie. You remember Richie from the 5th one who ended up being the killer?
Yeah.
The guy from The Boys.
Yeah, of course.
So the last one, his dad and brother and sister were the killers.
Oh,
so it all kind of came back to Richie. So
yeah, and I need to watch the 6th one, and I enjoyed the 5th one,
which I just ruined it for you, but
it's okay. I mean, I still would like to watch it. I'd like to do before the 7th one comes out. We should do a Scream like marathon, and
oh yeah, for sure. No, I'd totally be down for that. And I just wanted to dedicate all that to Danielle because she's a huge fan and she'll love this segment talking about Scream and getting all nerdy with it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, and I'm not going to talk a whole lot about it because I want to talk about it once I watch the movie. But the new Captain America is coming out. A New Hope, right? Is that what it's called?
Brave New World.
A Brave New World. I don't. A New Hope. I don't.
A New Hope is Star Wars.
Yeah, and then just real quick. So for some of our people that are active listeners and stuff, you're like, why do these guys never talk about Star Wars? I thought they were nerds. We are saving our Star Wars passion for an episode coming out in March.
No, May.
May.
Yeah, May the 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, May.
Yeah,
so we may dabble in a little bit of Star Wars, but we will go very in depth on Star Wars. Ethan will be on that one. He has an axe to grind.
Pretty much the whole episode is going to be Star Wars. So just be prepared. We're going to go into a lot of things. We won't talk about the Christmas special, I don't think. So don't worry.
Yeah, for sure. and not to jump the gun and get you guys all excited, but if you're a Star Wars fan, you will want to tune into that. And I will do my Chewbacca impression, which is really good. So
real quick before we move on, we talked about Captain America. We mentioned that's coming out. I'm excited to watch it, but
yeah, I hope it's good. Like, I just don't understand and again, I mentioned this in a few, early on in some of the episodes, like he's taking on the Red Hulk, which is a iconic villain by himself. Maybe
so there's a newer little teaser trailer. And,
I haven't seen it yet.
And well, it's one of those little TV spots, and it's I don't know if it's one of the ones that kind of goes into the ads like Doritos or whatever, or Gain. I think there was a Tide or Gain one, but you can see him getting punched, and it's like he's absorbing, almost like he's got Wakandan technology that absorbs.
That makes sense.
I'm like, oh, that's kind of lame, but okay, I get it.
Sure. I mean, honestly, you got to get something.
Honestly, the leader is the main villain, so I don't think they're going to highlight that fight as much as they're ramping it up to be.
Okay, which will be disappointing, but
I mean, the leader's cool though. I think.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. We'll see. I'm ready to watch it. We'll give you our honest opinion, and we're excited to talk about that. So in the future.
Did you watch the Fantastic Four trailer?
Yes, I did.
What did you think?
Honestly, I thought it looked amazing.
Yeah, I love the style that they're going with. It's very like old because it's set in the 60s. It's actually set in the past, and it's in a different universe. It's not our universe. So Fantastic Four are supposed to be from our universe, but I think what happens is they go into space, and then whatever happens with their physiology, and they turn, and then they end up in a different universe.
Yeah,
I think is what's going on. And from what I've heard, Galactus is only in this universe, but I think he might be from another universe too. So that's why he's seeking out the Fantastic Four so that he can figure out how to get back to his home, essentially.
Yeah, and you know how much I love Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, and a lot of people are kind of complaining about Galactus's size, but you got to keep in mind he can kind of shrink and gain. Like, yeah, his head's as big as the Earth, but he can shrink and do whatever he wants with his body.
He
eats planets, but he can also shrink. And obviously, you're not going to look for the Fantastic Four with just like your eyeball, looking at the Earth. So you got to shrink a little bit. They didn't show the Silver Surfer and nothing about Doom, but I don't know how much Doom will actually be in the movie, or if he will, or if he'll just be a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
I think they're just going to start sprinkling him in and just kind of start mentioning him a little bit. But everyone looks good. The Thing looks really cool. Johnny Storm looks really cool. So I think it'll be really good. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I agree. It looks good. I think Marvel's got some good things going on. Oh, I heard that they might bring Jonathan Majors back. There's some rumors going on about that.
I think if they bring him back, it's just so Doom can beat him. And take all his technology
and close out his story. But I mean, and again, I'm not condoning any domestic violence or any of that kind of stuff.
I mean, it would make sense because you just can't just leave the whole, Council of Kings thing and just say, oh yeah, well the TVA.
Well, he just died also.
No, it would be cool to see a scene where they're about to do something, or maybe they'll do that in Doomsday. Maybe it's the Council of Kings come to try and take over, and then the Prime King comes back. Because I actually read the script of what King Dynasty was supposed to be, and it sounded really cool.
Yeah.
Where the King from Ant-Man is like Prime King, and he gets lost in the quantum realm and ends up coming back and helping the Avengers defeat the Council of Kings and taking all their technology, like the bangles from Captain Marvel and the rings from what is it, Shang-Chi?
Yeah, Shang-Chi.
And so he gets all that, but I could see like something like that happening in Doomsday, and then he like defeats them, but then Doom like backstabs him and takes all the technology. I've also heard the Beyonder might be a King variant, so there's a couple things they could do with Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like in the comics, there's a lot of different King variants and stuff involving Doctor Doom and involving that whole storyline. But yeah, I'm excited to see how they close it out. I hope they do bring him back. I don't know. I didn't dabble in all of the Jonathan Majors drama. I know that he was convicted, I believe, but I know that from an acting standpoint,
I think it was ended up dropping. I think they ended up dropping. I think that's why they said that they might bring him back, is because they all ended up getting dropped.
Awesome. Well, retract that last statement then. I don't know.
I think it was looking like he was, and then ended up getting dropped. So I don't know.
I need to follow up on that, but nonetheless, he was phenomenal in the Ant-Man movie. Like that, if you take Jonathan Majors out of that movie is garbage.
Yeah, it's really bad, and that was a lot of people's complaints. Is Kang the Conqueror is this big bad, and he's supposed to be the Prime King, and he gets beat by an army of ants, and he shouldn't get beat by Ant-Man. Ant-Man should have lost that, and Jonathan Majors should have went on. And there's a lot of things wrong with that movie. The MODOK thing was really goofy and over the top, and I don't know. There's a lot of things that they should have done differently with that movie.
Yeah,
personally, but yeah, and I think that was one of the reasons that I think before the whole Jonathan Majors thing, I think the studio was looking at it and going, is this really where we want to go with the Avengers? I think they were actually talking about Doctor Doom before all that happened. So I think it was kind of just natural to say, okay, well, we are going to go with Doctor Doom. And now that all that's kind of dropped, I think that Jonathan Majors comes back and somehow, Doom defeats him and takes all the technology that he has built up.
Yeah, for sure. But a lot of exciting things coming out. I'm excited to see where the MCU goes.
Also, I've heard that Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider might show up at some point, so that'd be sweet.
Yeah, I know that's your man crush as well. So.
Man crush Monday.
All right.
Sunday.
Well, that'll close out Nerd Rage. Before we move into Whiskey Sideline, this single barrel is, to me, getting better and better and better. And again,
it's very good.
The Bottle and Bond is delicious.
The single barrel kind of sticks around in your mouth a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
Like you kind of get that flavor sticking around.
Yeah, man, it's a tough one. I thought the last couple ones we've done have been so tough. This one's really tough. I really like that single barrel.
There's a little stringency on the Bottle and Bond that's not
just
super
a hair.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's not on every sip either. But no. I think as of right now, I am going to go with the single barrel personally.
Yeah, I think we can go ahead and crown a winner. I think the single barrel is better.
Yeah, the single barrel is really good. If you have a chance, which I've seen a lot of them out there, I think Specs has some just sitting around there right now. Like you have a chance to go get them. So, and I'll post a photo of all these 1792s on our socials, so you can go check them out. I know a lot of people have said, "Oh, if we could see pictures of them." So I think we're going to start posting those, so that way you can get an idea of what they look like and what you're looking for.
Yep, for sure. And soon enough, we'll be videoing our podcast so you can see us and start building our, hopefully connection.
Be like, dude, these guys are ugly. Yeah, I don't know why I was listening to the guys.
I hate these guys, dude. I don't ever want to watch them again. Suck. Anyway, so all right. Well, we're gonna move over to the whiskey sideline, and I don't want to start with the Luka trade because I'm gonna lose it. So
okay,
let's start with the NFL.
So some news that just happened. So Kellen Moore is the head coach for the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah,
former Dallas, and it was kind of interesting that was announced because Kellen Moore is actually the offensive coordinator for the Eagles, and they're about to play in the Super Bowl. Yeah. They announced this yesterday, and I'm like, well,
so coach at Dallas,
and hopefully he really tunes it in tonight, but. Hopefully they don't lose the Super Bowl and it comes back to Kellen Moore was so focused on getting to New Orleans or whatever. But
yeah, so I'm not a New Orleans Saints fan. I do have a friend that I game with some from time to time that is a New Orleans Saints fan. He wasn't super thrilled.
Yeah, I think Kellen Moore is personally more of an offensive coordinator, but I think someone's just trying to give him a chance and see. I mean, the Saints have a lot of offensive firepower, so I think Derek Carr is a good quarterback given the right tools and the right coach.
Yeah, I mean, I think Derek Carr is a serviceable quarterback. So, I mean, you could go worse. You could have hired Brian Schottenheimer.
I also saw today where Debo Samuel was granted trade talks. So
Okay.
Debo Samuel might be moving to a new team.
Yeah, but I mean, you think about that. It makes sense. San Francisco, they don't need to pay him all that money, even though Debo's great player. I mean, they've got Ayuk, they've got Jennings.
I think Ayuk
and
is
they've
garbage,
got
bro.
Pearsall, who got shot and is
Pearsall's
awesome.
good. Jennings is like 29. He's one of those guys that's been fine.
Yeah,
I think Debo's good. He's just been hurt so much.
he's old. He's getting up there too in age.
He's like 25, 26, or 26,
No.
27.
Debo?
Yeah, hang on.
No. There's no way of that. So I do want to switch gears over to the MVP. Josh Allen was selected for the most valuable player, which isn't surprising. He hasn't
Sorry,
earned.
Debo is 29.
Yeah,
That's my
29.
bad.
Yeah, you're wrong. I know. No, I'm just checking. Don't test my football knowledge. No, I'm just joking. I'm nerdier when it comes to football knowledge. No, I'm just joking. But anyways, Josh Allen, yeah, I got MVP. I'm happy for him. I think he's definitely deserving. I mean, Buffalo was not supposed to be in the AFC Championship, so you can't credit that to anyone else. But and again, James Cook has been very, very good, and he's someone in fantasy football. I don't know why I've shied away from him. He has consistently been amazing.
It's because Buffalo doesn't ever seem to believe in their running backs.
Yeah.
Like whenever they had Devin Singletary was good, but they're just like, we're going to give him like 12 touches a game. And so even James Cook was having those issues. This year was the first year where they've kind of gave him a lot more touches. So you're just always worried. It's kind of like New England running backs with Bill Belichick. It's like, unless they are touchdown monsters like LeGarrette Blount, you're just not going to touch New England running backs because they're not going to get enough touches. Yeah. I think Saquon winning Offensive Player of the Year was really cool also. But and that kind of went the way I thought it would. I knew Josh Allen, or I figured Josh Allen would win MVP. I thought Saquon might win Offensive Player of the Year. I was kind of surprised. Didn't Surtain win Defensive Player of the Year? Was he? Did he finish the year? Surtain?
Defensive Player of the Year. I didn't see that.
I thought I saw Surtain won. I was like, didn't he get hurt or
no? He didn't.
Or no, was it your linebacker? I can't remember.
Yeah, we had Singleton got hurt.
Singleton, yeah. Okay, that's what I was looking at. I was like, man, it'd be really weird if someone played half the season and got Defensive Player of the Year. But I also saw that Jaden Daniels got Rookie of the Year offensively. I didn't see who got Defensive Rookie of the Year, but then I saw Caleb Williams, which who knows if this is accurate or not. He was saying, well, they must not have saw what I did this year. I did the same thing as Jaden Daniels. Yeah, except you didn't make the playoffs and you didn't make the NFC Championship. So sit your butt down there in Chicago.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't hate Caleb. I just think he's so full of himself and he really needs to
he got
come back down to earth a little bit.
Knocked down a peg. I mean, they weren't great.
Well, if that report is true, then he's still acting like an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, he has been acting like an idiot, so I'm not surprised. I've been excited to see him lose. I mean, Chicago is not a big fan of Chicago. It is what it is, but I mean, Kellen Moore, I think I'm happy for Josh Allen. Josh Allen's a very likable guy. It's sad to see him continue to lose to Patrick Mahomes. It's kind of like
it comes down to coaching, man. I don't know what is their coach name? Dermott? Is it Dermott?
Yeah. Sean Dermott.
I feel like he makes a lot
Sean
of really
McDermott, right?
Yeah, he makes a lot of really bad decisions, and I don't know what it is. Maybe they need a coaching change. Who knows? I mean, you're not gonna. I don't think you're gonna fire your coach who took you to the conference championship, but he really needs to get something under control. He needs to get a new OC. I mean, the defense looks great. I don't think the defense is the problem. I think maybe the offensive calls are the problem. I did see Buffalo fired their special teams coach, which I thought was kind of interesting. So,
oh yeah, Coach of the Year was Kevin O'Connell from the Vikings. What do you think about that?
I mean, you won with Sam Darnold, so yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and comeback player of the year was Joe Burrow, which I'm not surprised of. And everyone is very lucky they didn't have to play the Bengals in the playoffs.
If the Bengals make the playoffs, I think Joe Burrow legitimately had a shot to win MVP. And I think, honestly, and I said this about the Lions 2 years ago, if they would have made the playoffs, I think they would have had a shot to go really far. So the people definitely are really lucky that the Bengals didn't make the playoffs. They would have been super dangerous. And I don't know. They might have been the favorites.
You know, as much I know you're a Texans fan. You would like to see Higgins go. I would love Higgins to come to the Broncos. But
Yeah, there's all kinds of reports. Like, we don't know where Higgins is going to go. Everyone has their theories. It'd be cool to get Higgins. I've seen where Cooper Kupp could come to the Texans. I don't know how that would be. If he stays healthy, that'd be cool to have a good veteran presence like that. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
definitely. And, Patrick Surtain obviously is one of my favorite players. He did get Defensive Player of the Year. I was really excited to see that for him. I have his jersey, just so you guys know. I think he's well deserving. I think he's the best cornerback in the league. He's been a cornerstone of our defense. I'm very excited for the Broncos next year. Obviously, Bo Nix looked phenomenal this year.
I mean, there's a really good statistic where it showed like him against all like the top receivers, and none of them. I don't think any of them scored touchdowns against him. He is the best corner in the league. I would argue the best cornerback duo might be for the Texans, but he's definitely the best in the league. He kind of on his own level. He kind of reminds me of like Revis, Revis Island back in the day with the Jets.
Yeah, no, Revis Island's great for sure. Richard Sherman, those guys.
Richard Sherman. No, he doesn't still play. Who am I thinking of? I'm thinking of the guy from the Saints, or not the Saints, the Patriots. Who
you're thinking of? Oh, I know McCourty or whatever.
Not McCourty. He's older. I can't remember his name, but he's still out there playing pretty good. He might be playing for the Rams.
Okay, and then Defensive Rookie of the Year was Jared Verse, Rams pass rusher, which was really good this year.
Okay, yeah, he did pretty good. Which they don't highlight the rookie defensive players as much. Which obviously I was paying attention to Will Anderson a lot last year, but
yeah, Ethan would be excited about this. Eric Armstead, which is a Jaguars defensive lineman, he won Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year, which is great. I mean, I think that's really a very prestigious award.
He's a very good lineman.
So
I think Ethan made the joke that he got beat out by Tunsil for penalties this year. So
he did, but nonetheless, so that's good. All right, well, now it's time for me to spill out my guts.
Real quick before you spill out, I do have one NBA thing. Chet came back the other day.
Woo!
But then he didn't play on the back-to-back. But it's really exciting that Chet came back and Oklahoma City's getting healthy, and because they were already the number one team in the NBA. Now you're adding, Chet Holmgren back. So,
which is insane.
It's gonna be super dangerous.
Dude, how insane is that? And I was like, Mavs are the biggest threat to the Thunder, and we've won without Luka.
Well, that's why we added Hartenstein too.
For sure, I agree. But I'm thinking, I'm looking at you guys are gonna go to the finals. The only roadblock in your way is the Mavs that I see.
Even now, still if Anthony Davis still stays healthy, he looked really dominant before he exited the game the other day.
Oh yeah, which is weird that Anthony Davis would get hurt in a non-contact.
No way,
I don't believe that. Happen? Street clothes, Anthony Davis.
What if they come back and say he tore his ACL or something? How bad does Nico Harrison look then? Okay, go on your rant. I'll let you go on your rant.
All right, you guys ready for this? All right, Mavs fan. This is for all my Mavs fans out there. Just so everyone knows, I've been a Mavs fan, diehard, since in the earliest memory. Because again, I grew up during the Jordan era, and I loved Michael Jordan. And if you see my emails and stuff, it's usually got 23 in it, which is a representation of Michael Jordan. But Luka Doncic, it was our child born. We drafted him along with Jalen Brunson, and I forgave the Mavericks for the Jalen Brunson fiasco. And the Knicks.
Yeah, it could have been him and Porzingis and Brunson, man.
Yeah, Porzingis is a whole different story. But we traded Luka Doncic for Max Christie, which looks like a fine player, a first-round pick, and Anthony Davis. Anthony Street Clothes Davis. And I've heard a few, I think Shaq and maybe Charles Barkley or somebody said that, the Mavs are going to be a little bit better in the next couple of years. We traded a guy that's about to be 32 years old in Anthony Davis next month. One first-round pick for Luka Doncic, the scoring champion last year, took us to the NBA Finals, which no one in the NBA had us even close to going that. They said Thunder were going to dominate us. They said Minnesota was going to dominate us. And yes, Kyrie was pretty amazing outside of the finals, which he disappeared. But you're talking, and their argument is we weren't going to pay him $350 million. We were scared. His conditioning, he was fat, or whatever else.
He didn't look that fat when he got off the plane.
He didn't look fat when he got off the plane, and he's still. And what I loved, one quote from Shaq that I loved is even fat Luka is better than 99% of the guards in the NBA, and I agree with that
I mean,
wholeheartedly.
Shaq knows firsthand. He was definitely one of the ones that was never looked like in shape, but he would still dunk on your ass real quick.
100%. So let me tell you why. Okay, is this the greatest trade in the history, or is this the worst trade that anyone's ever seen? And I'm leaning towards the worst trade in the history of sports. And I'm going to tell you a couple of reasons why I think that. Number one, we traded for a guy that barely can play. Yes, he's been healthier this year, and he's looked really good, and he's a Hall of Famer. Anthony Davis is a great player. I'm not going to discredit that. But he doesn't play much. That's just a fact. Look at how many games he's played. I didn't pull the stats because I honestly have got so much more to talk about. But look at the
something
stats.
Like 60% of his games.
60% of his games he plays on average. I think a couple seasons back he played less than 50 games back to back. He played 70 something less, I think, last year. But it's ridiculous, and that was a lot of the gripe of what they said they traded Luka for. They were worried about his injuries. They're worried about his conditioning. You don't trade for a guy that's hurt all the time. He got hurt the first game he freaking came out, and granted, he looked really good, but he's already hurt. Imagine that. Secondly, Luka was our guy. Yes, he complained a lot, and I got upset with Luka, with the refs and that whole barking and complaining and that, that was the worst part of Luka. But Luka's 25 years old. 25. And we traded for a guy that's about to be 32. So we mortgaged our future. And if you look at what superstars, this is what pisses me off more than anything with this whole trade. Okay, you want to trade Luka, you want to win now, whatever, blah, 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 BS. We are not set up for the future. We didn't get enough picks and the reports are coming out that are saying that the Mavs asked for 2 first-round picks, and Rob Pelinka talked him out of that because, Luka's health history.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of GMs around the league that they didn't come out and say who they were, but there was some people making assumptions, but they're like, yeah, we would have definitely gave a lot more for Luka.
Mikal Bridges got, I believe, four first-round picks. 4.
I mean,
for Mikal Bridges.
I go back to the Paul George trade. You remember when Oklahoma City traded Paul George? We got SGA, we got Gallinari, we got 5 first-round picks and 4 first-round pick swaps
for Paul George.
Who just Paul George.
Arguably, outside the top 10 players?
Well,
top 15?
At that time, he was debatably top 10.
Okay, top 10.
I mean, this is a few years back. This is before SGA took off, but I'm just saying.
Would you not agree that Luke is a top 3 player in the NBA?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best European players of all time. Mm-hmm. So
he's 25. Let me remind you, 5-time All NBA.
Yeah,
scoring champion last year. Went to the finals. So
I think you could have Anthony Davis in 3 firsts.
3 firsts at least, and Max Christie. I think that's very fair. We traded Maxi Kleber, which I don't know, injury and done.
I don't know what LA still has because they've been giving up so much stuff for all these other players. They might have even.
We even gave up a second. We had to trade a second to Jazz. The Jazz got one of our seconds,
and the first is 2029. Like, that doesn't help you guys right now.
Oh yeah, we're got 29 first when they get to build around Luka, which is one of the greatest players in the NBA, and
Luka and Bronny.
And I'm not one person to look at one specific moment. And Nico Harrison, to me, has done phenomenal. He did the Kyrie stuff. Something interesting about Nico, and I need to do more research. I didn't get a chance before this. Had to record this episode, but I was talking to a good friend of mine that was telling me about, he botched the, what's his name? Steph Curry, Nike deal. Apparently, Nico Harrison was a part of that. That's one of his biggest.
I do remember that, yes.
Yeah, so this might be the...
Oh, he offended Steph Curry because he kept talking about Klay Thompson or something.
Yeah, or he set up a presentation, I guess, for Embiid or somebody else, and then they gave him the same presentation, and he offended Steph Curry, and Nike lost Steph Curry. That's why Steph Curry's not a part of Nike. Luka is a part of the Jordan brand, not necessarily directly correlated with Nike. I don't know what else happened. There's something that had to happen that we just don't know the story. And it's not because Luka gained 30 pounds. It's not because he conditioned. It's not because he complained the refs. I mean, and the last point I want to make, because I could talk about this for an hour. And if you guys know, I'm a diehard Mavs fan. I don't know if you understand. This ripped my heart out and ripped it into shreds. Garrett was the first one that sent it to me, the trade, and I was like, dude, that's fake. Get the hell out of here. They're not trading Luka. What are dude? You're smoking crack, man. Like, there's no way that they would do that. And then it just blew up, and I thought my dog died. I don't even have a dog, but if I had a dog, that's what I felt like.
If it
my
comes
dog
from
died.
Sham, it's true. That
Sham is the new Woj. He's the new Adam Schefter.
They showed him after the trade deadline. And he's just like putting his head on the chair. Like, I'm like, yeah, dude, it was a crazy trade deadline. There was a lot that happened.
Yeah, and I've listened to First Take. I've read a lot of articles. I've done a lot of research.
Was it De'Aaron Fox that went to the Spurs? Like that, Spurs are going to be dangerous, bro.
Yeah, there's something to keep an eye on. De'Aaron Fox is pretty good.
What Victor is like that? I don't know. I like the Spurs. I was a huge Greg Popovich, Tim Duncan fans. You know, I was a Spurs fan before Oklahoma City got a team, and I still was a Spurs fan until Tim Duncan retired. So I always kind of pay a little bit of attention and hope that they do well. And so it was kind of interesting to see that. And like, okay, they got some pieces around Victor now. They're going to be a dangerous team in the future.
Yeah, 100%. So last point I wanted to make, and then I'll talk about the conspiracy theory. I don't really necessarily believe, but why not shop Luka? If you're going to trade him, okay.
Well, and doing it on Sunday, you still had all week. Well, it was a Sunday, right? Whenever that came
Saturday
out?
night.
Saturday night?
No.
Yeah, it was Saturday
in
night.
the dark.
Yeah. So you have almost a whole week still, and you're just forced that trade. Like, why? Like, why that day? I don't know. It's just.
What do you have to lose to shop Luka? What do you have to lose?
Well, I think he said you either do this deal or if you and don't shop Luka, or I don't know.
Yeah,
it was something
because
like
apparently Nico has a infatuation with Anthony Davis because they're friends at Nike. Regardless, I don't care. Shop Luka, get the most leverage you possibly can. Anthony Davis is a really good player, and I hope he gets healthy. I think I think the Mavs are still a really good team. It's not about that. It's about what the Mavericks stand for, and this is what. And I'm going to go a little bit further. Sorry. What pisses me off? We are a team that stood behind a European legend in Dirk, one of my favorite players ever. And it's about loyalty never fades. And it's in the statue of Dirk.
But that was the Mark Cuban days also. You got to keep that in mind.
It is. But
Mark Cuban would have never made that trade.
You sold your soul to the devil.
Yeah, but they're casino owners. They
understand
don't know anything about the NBA. So they don't give a crap. And then Nico Harrison, obviously, I don't know what his thing is. Like how long has he been the GM for the Mavericks?
2 years, I think.
So fairly new. And so
2-3 years.
Was he hired by Cuban or was he hired by the Vegas
group? No, he was probably by Cuban. Yeah.
Well, then I don't know. Cuban owns 27%, so he doesn't have much say. But
didn't even get a call.
Yeah, and I mean Jason Kidd looked pissed off at the press
conference. 100%. And he's taken the corporate road, which I understand. You're in a tough position. You were told don't talk about this. You could lose your job, kind of a thing. So hearts out to all the Mavs fan, to Jason Kidd, to the ride or dies, Mavs fans for life. I'm going to say this, and I'm not ready to make a decision yet, but I am highly considering hanging up my Mavs gear, hanging up my Mavs fandom. And I don't say that lightly. It's not just about
what do you have to hang on. Like you have basically Kyrie and AD who weren't Mavers.
And Kyrie can opt out next year.
Yeah, he could. Like, so who are you hanging on? Like right now, like, so who's your franchise player? Like, it's two guys that you don't know if it's going to be your franchise.
We don't have one. That's the problem with the whole trade. You just said it in the most simplest terms. We don't have a future ready for us. When we traded a top 3 NBA player, you spend your entire generation, your entire franchise looking for that kind of player. And you guys lucked into it with the Thunder, with SGA.
And then you talk about defense, and then the very next game, the Cavs just come in and obliterate. Like that was a horrible showing. I mean, you have Gafford and you have PJ Washington. You have those other guys who have been there,
standing on business.
Yeah, but
you have a whole team that looked forward to playing with Luka that had no longer. Klay Thompson came to the Mavericks to play with Luka, and you violated that. And you didn't give anyone the understanding. You didn't give anyone time to grieve. You didn't give anyone time to think about what happened. That, to me, is just everything that is not the Mavs. And I don't know if I can attach my love, my passion with that kind of team. Regardless who owns it, Mark Cuban's 27%. So, again, heartbroken, upset. still it hasn't gotten easier. Even if the Mavs win, even if they win a championship, this is what upsets me the most. It isn't with Luka. There's no championship you could win. You could win 2 championships. The championship one with Luka, like we had with Dirk, which we should have had 2 with Dirk. We got screwed in 2006 against the Miami Heat. That's a different podcast, conspiracy theory story. But our guy was Luka. I love you, Luka. I miss you. I hate the Lakers too. It went to the Lakers of all teams. By God,
you're gonna have to watch LeBron and Bronny circus with Luka bitching about the refs. It's gonna be a circus.
Makes me sick.
I have no interest in watching the Lakers at all anymore.
Grinds my
which I
gears.
never did anyway. But
yeah,
and you went back about talking about championships. It doesn't mean as much if you just basically buying a championship.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean it meant a lot when Dirk went through and beat all these giants and won the championship, right? It meant a lot when Stephen Curry and them beat all the giants and won the championship. It didn't feel as good. It didn't feel as important when Kevin Durant decided he was going to sign with already a contender and then go and win another championship or 2. So, and that's the thing, like pretty much any of the LeBron championships just don't have much meaning because he's going and take him out down to South Beach. I'm going to build all the best players around me because I can't win by myself. I'm not Michael Jordan. And that's all my thing. Like he's never, and here's my LeBron spill. He's never, ever, ever going to be in the GOAT debate for me. Ever, ever. He's not better than Kobe Bryant. So all you LeBron people, you can think what you think. You can do what you do. Yeah. He's got a very longevity career, whatever longevity Latin career, however you want to say it, but he's never going to be in the GOAT debate ever. He sure top 5, top 3, whatever. Jordan and Kobe are the only 2 GOAT debates for me.
Okay, I'm not going to agree because I know Jordan's the greatest, and I will debate anyone.
Well,
anytime.
Jordan is, but I'm just saying if you're having a debate, it's really just
between
Jordan and Kobe.
I love Kobe Bryant. I remember when he passed away, I was playing poker at Choctaw Casino. A friend guy that I've kind of see in the poker room, not like we don't hang out. We're not best buddies, but I remember him like, hey, Kobe just died. And I'm like, shut up. Like
my friend Aaron Cherry was the biggest Kobe fan.
Yeah. It happened the day, I believe day before or day after. I have to look at the specific dates when my grandma passed away, which was very important to me.
But would you agree that you would argue Kobe?
Yeah, 100%.
Before LeBron.
100%. Two-way player, amazing. I mean, there's a whole debate. Just because you play longer than everybody doesn't mean you're the greatest player.
Even Anthony Davis. Yeah, even Anthony Davis said it. Like someone said something about some kind of statistic, and he goes, "Yeah, it took him 1,000 more games." Like, this is before he got traded. That's probably what got him traded.
Yeah, 100%. So, all right. Well, that's going to conclude Whiskey Sideline because I could talk about this all day, and I'm still pissed off. Sorry to all the Mavs fans. Anybody listening to this?
I think a lot of the Mavs fans would agree with you. I mean,
they
have that whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing going
make it
on
make sense. There is
no
making it make sense.
Yeah.
Listen to Woj. Woj does in First Take with Mad Dog and Stephen A. Smith. He's just like it's for face value. Don't think about a conspiracy theory. And I do not think they're trying to take the team to Vegas.
And that's the conspiracy theory. You didn't really go into that. So the Vegas group was brought in here to try to bring gambling to Texas, which if it happens, that's going to hurt Oklahoma and Louisiana. Yeah, I get it, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. And so maybe they're trying to tank the team and move to Vegas. I don't think that's what's happening. My fun theory was, well, what if Mark Cuban was secretly talking to Nico and like, hey, you should make these trades so that I could buy it back from them a lot cheaper and then take back over the team. Wouldn't that be interesting?
So I'm going to go on record to say and quote what Mark Cuban said. He would divorce his wife before he would trade Luka.
I didn't even know he's married. So
yeah,
is he married?
Yes,
and that'd be funny if he didn't have a wife.
That's a real quote from him.
Yeah, no, so. He's a Luka guy. He's a very big guy on loyalty.
Yeah, which is what Dirk did.
Except for after they won the championship and the whole team broke apart. But All
right, before we move away from Whiskey Sideline, last point I want to make. They didn't want to pay Luka $350 million. They cost him $116 million because he can't sign the Supermax. How much do you think, and this is a question for you, how much money do you think the Mavericks are going to lose after trading Luka?
It depends. So it depends. I know that they're probably going to have issues selling tickets, and a lot of people are upset if season ticket holders decide that they are not going to continue, which I think you buy in at the beginning of the season. So I don't think any of them can do anything now. But
No. Their Mavs are already accepting refunds. Multiple.
Oh, yeah. I do remember seeing
multiple
that.
people are canceling their season tickets.
So I don't know. It's weird. And it's interesting because you have one side of it, because both of these happen at American Airlines, right? You have the Mavericks and the Dallas Stars. Dallas Stars are doing great. We're having a great season.
Yep.
We're packing the stadium. We had the most wins in January, and we're on a good run now. We made some really good trades, doing some really good stuff there. And then you have the Mavericks, who obviously not doing good stuff. And so it'll be interesting. I don't know how it works with American Airlines. Obviously, it's two different sports, but
yeah. And we beat the Celtics and we beat the Rockets, which are
the Rockets was a good win. Yeah,
very good teams, but I'm not even happy about it. I'm not even in do I want to enjoy it? I didn't even want to watch the game with Anthony Davis. That's how upset I've been. But I think the Mavs are going to lose more than $116 million, which is the differential from the Supermax. So, again, it is what it is. You know where I stand. I heartfelt for Mavs fans.
And like I was telling you earlier, as a Thunder fan, we'll accept you. Sam Presti won't ever do anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, the
mad scientist is what I call him.
Yeah, and there was a couple things, the Harden move. I think it's because he was between Serge Ibaka and Harden, and was like, hey, you'll get a lot more money and a lot more playing time playing at another place. And it kind of made sense because we had Russ and we had KD, but man, I think the Thunder would have been a dynasty if we would have kept that whole core together. But Presti is a big guy on loyalty, and kept Russ around for a long time, and then he was like, look, we're in a rebuild, you'd be better off somewhere else. And so I would argue Presti's debatably the best GM in the NBA, and I would put him up against a lot of other GMs personally, but that's just me. I'm a Thunder fan, so I'm a little biased, and I think that he's been really good at building two really good kind of like dynasty style, like contender teams just from drafts and stuff. So he's been doing a really good job. I'm really excited about the Thunder and excited to see what we do this year. Hopefully we maybe can get our first championship. That'd be great.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. All right. Well, let's move over to pop culture pour, because I think you have an axe to grind, and this is all about letting our emotions out. We had a lot to talk about. Again, it's Super Bowl Sunday, and we wanted to, we wanted to share our thoughts. There's a lot going on.
So I want to get to a thing. So these award shows, I want to talk a little about the Grammys and the Oscars. So when are we going to get to a point where it's obvious that the people doing the reviews might not be very honest compared to what the actual people watching and listening to this stuff are? So Beyonce, great artist, probably debatably one of the greatest artists of all time, comes out with the most mediocre country album. It gets praised by critics, which makes zero sense, and it wins Country Album of the Year. When really you have Post Malone, who did it the right way. He actually made a really good old school feeling country album. He had a bunch of guests in his songs. He had debatably the song of the summer last year. He gets a nomination, sure, but nobody remembers any of Beyonce's. Like the only thing I remember about Beyonce one is "It Ain't Texas" or however that one goes. So it gets to the point where, well, are these stars really buying these awards? Like, what's going on? So I just feel like it's a joke, and I feel like you actually see the ones that are voted on by fans, and it's a huge difference. Like, you can also see it at the Oscars a lot, especially recently, where they're like, oh, you have to check certain boxes to get an Oscar nomination, which I think is ridiculous. You should want people who actually have the best performances or the best direction. Like Dune 2 director not getting a nomination is just ludicrous. And then you give it the Amelia Perez thing is it just blows my mind. This movie, which is a piece of crap, it really is. I'm sorry for any of the 20% of people who actually liked the movie. I apologize, but it is crap. And Zoe Saldana actually does give a good performance. I will not be upset if Zoe Saldana wins Best Actress, but or Best Supporting or whatever she was nominated for. But you can't tell me that Selena Gomez wasn't laughable. You can't tell me that the singing was atrocious and the songs were cringe. It's a really just a slap in the face to me to modern cinema, and I can't get behind it. It's a movie. It's a controversial movie about Mexican Hispanic culture, directed by a French guy who has no idea anything about Hispanic culture. And then it really was funny that the transgender actress that was in the movie had a lot of like very what is the word I'm looking for? Very controversial tweets that popped up, because then they're like, oh, well, you know, she said some really mean things about people. And so I thought it was pretty, you know, it was pretty funny. And so that might take a little bit off of it, but you know, it's whatever. I want the best performances to get highlighted. I want the best movies to win. I want the best directors to win. I'm all about cinematography and editing. Like that movie getting an editing nomination just blows my mind. I just can't believe it. That movie won best musical over Wicked, which I thought was a cinematic masterpiece of a musical. Like I put it up there with like Chicago. And Chicago is one of the best musicals I've seen. And I don't know if Cody, I don't know if you've watched a whole lot of musicals before, but
a few.
I you know, and me, Cody, and Ethan joke about the Amelia Perez songs. Like they're a joke. They really are. And I think honestly, I think the whole movie is just a huge slap in the face to Hispanic culture, and I know a lot of them were very upset, and that's the thing. It kind of reminded me. I know this is not on the same level, but there's a movie called Troll 2, directed by a foreign director who couldn't speak English, and that just kind of feels like what you get is a lot of nonsense in a movie that you can kind of laugh at and make fun of. So I think it had a point, and I think it just missed it. So.
No, I mean, from what I've seen so far, and again, I just listened to the song that we like to make fun of, but yeah, I've already told my fiance, which is Mexican, my daughter's Mexican, obviously, but I want to watch it and make a honest opinion on myself. But just on the musical, that song that we had talked about,
and there's a few others where it's just like they're just talking, and it to me, a musical should really highlight the music and
the Wizard
singing.
of Oz.
Yeah, it should actually. Well, and I get the live singing, but Les Miserables did it, and they did it amazingly. Like Anne Hathaway won an Oscar, and she was in the movie for 10 minutes because it was that, you know, it was that great. And if you're gonna do it live and everything, it shouldn't sound like it shouldn't. Pardon my French, but it shouldn't sound like. It's so to me, it's so disrespectful to a lot of artists out there who do put on really good musicals and plays. And, you know, a lot of the directors are going to go out there and go like, they're going to say what they're going to say because they're Hollywood or whatever. But down deep, I think that they truly feel like that wasn't good cinema. And to me, and a lot of people are comparing it to Crash, which you said you were a fan of Crash, right?
Yeah, I like that.
You remember that? So that got like 60% positive, and you know, it was a decent, like, I didn't hate the movie. I thought it was decent, but, you know, I think it was very, like, the political message of the movie kind of propelled it to win over, like, Munich and over Brokeback Mountain that year. There were just a lot of times you'll come in these years where it just feels like the actual movies that deserve it just kind of get overshadowed because the Oscars just want to say, oh, well, we want to highlight something different. So I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you a couple different perspectives. You may like it, and you may agree with a lot of what I have to say. MVPs, awards, they're all becoming the same thing. They're becoming a bunch of BS at the end of the day. It's a popularity contest. It's a mainstream media, whatever you want to think about. It's not really what people think or what people deserve. So Beyonce won Album of the Year, which is nuts, and the Country Album of the Year, which she beat Chris Stapleton. Chris Stapleton is
Post Malone,
which his album's very good.
And I think who was the other one? It was there was a couple of female artists that actually had really good albums.
Casey
too.
Musgraves, which is
and Lainey Wilson.
Yeah, and Lainey Wilson, which I haven't listened. So I haven't listened to all their albums. I listened to songs from all of the albums, and I'm one of the biggest Chris Stapleton fans you'll probably ever meet in your life. You know that. I've seen him in concert 3 times. And I'll continue to go watch him because I think he's a songbird of our generation. No pun intended. That is funny if you watch Step Brothers. But you know,
Jesus and Fergie made a baby.
Yeah, it's like Jesus and Fergie made a baby. But the song of the year was like Kendrick Lamar.
Which I haven't listened to a lot of Kendrick Lamar.
So that song's awesome, but Tipsy, you remember Tipsy, that song?
I don't know, maybe.
You haven't heard Tipsy?
I honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't listen to a whole lot of newer music. They mentioned Chappelle Roan or whatever her name is.
Yeah, she won.
Like I know that she has like that Hot to Go song, but I don't know a whole lot of stuff that she sings. Sabrina Carpenter, I can tell you anything she sings.
Listen to Tipsy, a bar song.
Oh yeah.
That beat that song, not like
whiskey.
Us. Yeah, Jack Daniels got a history.
That was on my top 5.
That was
songs
the
of the year.
global icon. I heard. The first time I heard that song was when I was on vacation in Cabo, and I was
people love that song. That's the same thing with the Post Malone song. The I had some help, like I can make this kind of mess all by myself. That was like the summer jam of the year.
Yeah, but Tipsy's the biggest song.
Yeah, that song was great.
It defines 2024. It's kind of like In the Club defined 2003 or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
I believe that because I was in high school. It was my senior year, but there's no way that song beats Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar. There's no way that song beats Tipsy. But anyways, that's just to kind of tell you it's a bunch of BS. So
I do love that Gojira won Metal Performance of the Year because that song they did at the Olympics was amazing. And it really highlighted the metal scene. So
yeah. And
usually it'll be like, oh, rock and metal album of the year goes to Maroon 5 when Maroon 5 hasn't been rock since 2004.
Yeah. I know. I love Maroon 5 though.
Oh, I liked their first album. That was it. The first album was great. They were actually a rock band. It's kind of like Fall Out Boy. Fall Out Boy was pretty good for the first couple albums, and then they stopped using their instruments, it feels like.
I just love his voice though. So
yeah, I mean he's got a good voice.
All right, so we're doing a double header. We're drinking the 1792 full proof, which we thought was going to be by far the best, and then I repoured the single barrel.
Honestly, I've been getting so heated, I haven't been paying attention to the flavors and stuff. This is a very controversial and heated episode. We apologize, but not really. We don't apologize.
Yeah, I think I was pushing the single barrel might be better, but the full proof is just so good.
No, I think the full proof is still really good. Honestly, the single barrel it's really good.
It competes. Yeah. It competes, but full proof so far is winning, and I'll crown a winner in the last call. But all right, what else you got in pop culture report? Anything else?
No, I don't think I had anything else. I just wanted to kind of cover the Grammys. Honestly, I wanted to cover award shows because I wanted to say I feel like whoever's voting on these award shows just. Are they even really listening or watching everything?
Well, it was like Luka not getting the MVP last year. Like he didn't even finish second.
Jokic has been
He's been good, but look at Luka's stats. He was scoring champion. He did something that no one's ever done in the history of the NBA. I mean,
it is very political and it's ridiculous. Like I really wish the fans could vote. Because but then you would get like Transformers or something winning, which is
or you get Beyonce winning every year.
And I get it, but you honestly the Oscars. I used to have a party for the Oscars where we would get together and we would hang out, almost like the Super Bowl. And it was but now it's just like I don't even want to because it's a joke. It's a joke of a award show anymore. And I think they really have to take a step back and hopefully address what they're doing. I mean, who was that guy? Was it Ricky Gervais? That dude killed it as the Golden Globe host,
yeah, go back and watch that. That was the funniest thing
he made
ever.
Hollywood look dumb, and I would love, I'm like, dude, 100%. That guy could be the host for every award show, and I'd be in. Dude, I'd be in, man.
I'd watch every single one of those.
All right, let's move on before. All
right, we're gonna be real quick with these next couple, but neat and balanced. So we're gonna talk about meal prepping, and again, if you're trying to get serious about working out and getting healthy and losing weight, then you need to be meal prepping. Like I can't stress, and I've talked about vitamins and supplements and sweeteners and all the other stuff, but meal prepping is the foundation. Eating foods and protein, and I was talking to Garrett yesterday. He's like, oh, eating a donut every once in a while is not a big deal. No, it's not eating a big deal, but I want every one of my meals to have a high protein intake.
I get that, but my argument was you shouldn't limit yourself all the time. Like you should have a cheat. No. Like you shouldn't just say, I don't eat that food. Like I get it. You want to be a little disciplined, but if you like the taste of donuts, eat one every like if it's a couple times a year, like it's not like
yeah,
gonna kill you.
No, and I'm not trying to
enjoy it. Like don't like limit yourself just because you're trying to hit a quota.
No, it's not about hitting a quota. It's just about if I'm going to eat something, I want it to be high in protein.
No, I get that.
So, and I'm not saying I won't ever eat a donut. I have some cinnamon rolls downstairs. We can eat before we leave or whatever else before we head to the Super Bowl party. But meal prepping is so important. It helps if you meal prep. You're prepared. You're planning. You're planning ahead of what you need to eat to get your protein intake, to get your macros. Which I think are so important. Also, too, it keeps you from cheating. Because the biggest time we cheat, for me personally, is when I don't have something easy to make and I'm starving.
I do want to add on that though. It's really hard for me because I do meal prep, right? Mm-hmm. I do eat lunch and then I eat at work, and then I'm walking like 15,000 steps at work, and I'm getting off at like 10:30, and all of a sudden I'm like starving. I'm like, well, it won't hurt if I go get a pizza pocket, or it won't hurt if I go get it. And I wish I was, I had better discipline and where I wouldn't do that, but it does happen. And, and so I wish that there was something.
But if you meal prep and you have that, you take, like, say you take it to work because you have refrigerators and shit.
You do, but at the same time, we have meals there. And I don't know, maybe I'm just eating too early or something, but.
Well, yeah. I mean, it depends on what you're trying to do. Are you fast? You want to fast, which I know you do. I fast as well. If you have that meal, you're not going to go to eat pizza. You're not going to go eat a hamburger if you have something right in front of you. Not me personally. You may do it, but I don't.
I don't typically like to eat that late. So are you saying like if I had like a meal prep and I had it for when I get home?
When you get home or you have it at work, you've got it in the refrigerator. So if you get hungry, you can just snack on it.
A lot of times I don't get hungry until I get in the car. I don't know. It's really weird. And there's something, it's weird because I'll be like, I'm not going to stop. And then I somehow end up in the Whataburger drive-thru. It's just like these cravings that hit. And it's really annoying.
No, and I get those. I love Whataburger, man. First off, so let's be clear about that.
And I've heard that they're the quotations healthiest burger you can.
No, compared to a McDonald's burger, absolutely.
Well, if you get just the regular single cheeseburger, sure, at McDonald's, but
no. Well, even any of the burgers at McDonald's will last.
If you get that double quarter pounder, it gets up there.
Quarter pounder, yeah,
or that Big Mac.
Well, that's a different debate for a different day, and we can do.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like it is tough because I want to be better. I do the yogurt and I do the protein and I do the meal prepping,
green tea,
and I do the green tea. Yeah. I missed today, but
veering off the path, it's about limiting the veering off the path, and that's why meal prepping comes in.
And that's what I'm trying to be better at for sure.
So you have some really good recipes that I wanted you to share, and I'll talk a little bit about a couple of things I've been trying lately that I wanted to mention.
And so I don't have the specific recipes in front of me for the meal prepping I do. So I use a crock pot, and every Sunday or Monday I'll make meals because my wife, she wants to be She-Hulk, right? She goes to the gym, and there's this guy named Craig who helps her with her lifting. And
how'd you get fired on your day off, Craig?
Yeah, Friday reference.
Yeah,
but she wants to be She-Hulk, and so she goes and lifts, and she wants high protein stuff, and so I make it for her, and I use the crock pot. Most of it is just with chicken. I put chicken with like I think the last one I did had some sun-dried tomatoes and some Parmesan and some low-fat cream cheese, and then I added some corn and stuff like that, and you just put it in a bowl with some protein pasta. And actually, I think it was made with chickpeas, which I think was interesting.
Chickpeas have a lot of protein. People don't understand that.
Yeah, there's chickpea
hummus
pasta.
is made with chickpeas, just so everyone's clear.
Yeah, and so I'll do some meals like that, or I'll do some stuff with some rice. So there's a lot of really good crock pot protein meals out there. But one I thought was really interesting that I really liked, it was these protein muffins, which I'll say Fairlife. If you're wanting a really good shake, Fairlife are amazing. They taste amazing.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm going to second that. And if you're lactose intolerant, Fairlife will not have and it doesn't have a negative impact to me. I believe it's some kind of different milk or whatever else. They use something else, and I don't know it off the top of my head, but
they make it good milk too. Yeah, the milk is really good because Danielle has issues with dairy and stuff, so we do Fairlife regular milk. But I get her the chocolate Fairlifes, and they have the 26 and the 42s. But if you get the 26, so this one says the Kodiak cake muffin mix. So you just get the box and use the muffin mix, which we did the blueberry. You get a Greek yogurt of your choice, which I just got. It said I don't know how to pronounce this. Oikos, Oikos. but you just get the little package of that, and then 1 core power of the Fairlife shake. Mix them all together, put them in the oven for 23 to 25 minutes, 350 degrees. You have, so one muffin is 148 calories, but it has 10 grams of protein. It has 1.5 grams of fat, 25 grams of carbs, and 2 grams of fiber. So
that's solid.
Yeah, the calories are a little 148 for one. I mean, but they can be kind of filling too. But getting 10 grams of protein out of just like one little muffin is cool. I also have a little protein coffee that I have that has 20 grams of protein and 2 shots of espresso. And then you mix that with the 42 grams of Fairlife, and just like that, you have 62 grams of protein in just your shakes.
Yeah. So also
coffee. I mean,
I think, and that was brilliant. I remember you messaged that to me, and I'm like, why have I never thought about doing that? Like, that's the easiest thing you could ever do to make your coffee. Because I love coffee.
Yeah, and I have to do a shaker to get the mixed right. Because if you just do it with a spoon, it's not going to mix. But you use a shaker and you pour it in with I use like 6 ounces of water with that, and I mix it and I put it into a cup, and then I put the Fairlife shake in there. But it's really, really, really good. I'll drink that over Starbucks all day.
Yeah. So I remember which we'll talk about in a little bit, but I was telling the people that I saw a recipe for mixing cottage cheese and eggs, and people are like, "Ooh,
no, mixing cottage cheese and stuff is really good."
Yeah, I mean, cottage cheese has a ton of protein. First off, I'm not the biggest cottage cheese fan. Okay, be very clear, but 4 eggs and a couple of scoops of cottage cheese, you're talking about 60 to 70 grams of protein. And I mixed it. I did it the other day. I added a little bit of hot sauce. I even put a little bit of feta cheese on top. It was so good. I was shocked because I was like, I don't think I'm going to like this, but I wanted to try it. So if you're eating eggs, which you should, I think eggs are one of the greatest, cheapest sources of protein you can get. I highly recommend mixing it with cottage cheese. And it's all about mixing, you do like you're doing scrambled eggs. You put the cottage cheese in there. You mix it up really good. You need to mix it up very nice. I couldn't even tell there was cottage cheese in it.
Are you one on the side of the fence to use whole eggs or egg whites?
I use whole eggs. There is a time and place for egg whites. Egg whites cut out a lot of the fat, but I think there's good fat and cholesterol in eggs.
I just see different things on it where one side they'll say egg whites are good, but then they'll come back and say, well, but having the whole eggs, it's an argument that goes back and forth that I think is very interesting.
I agree. And I think that would be a really good neat and balanced conversation because there's a lot of different, depending on your calorie intake. I think at the end of the day, it's all about calories in, calories out. So what you're trying to do, lose weight, depends on what you're trying to do. Right now, I'm focused on building muscle, and the fat loss will come with that. So I need to shed about 20 pounds. That's my goal before May, my wedding, because I think that'll get me at the optimal weight. And again, I've been gaining weight.
Well, but if you gain weight in muscle, it makes it a little harder to actually gain like fat weight.
Yeah, so, and you can see.
I don't think you should be too hard on yourself if you don't quite hit that.
For sure. And you can see my arms are getting bigger, my shoulders.
Swole. I'm
getting swole, man. You can look at me. Yeah, I'm coming real hot. So, but no, just joking.
He's coming at you, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, you better watch out. I'm here to pump you up.
Pump you up. Dude, I heard a really funny Arnold Schwarzenegger story. Do you care if I tell it real quick?
No, I don't care at all. That's so great.
So
I love Arnold Schwarzenegger,
the
by the way.
movie Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger
and
Danny DeVito, right?
Yeah.
So he was telling a story. I don't know if it was Conan or one of those, late night shows. And he's like, Danny DeVito invited me. He's like, hey, Arnold, I have some, I'm going to make some Italian food tonight. Come by my trailer. I'll feed you. So he goes by his trailer. He's like, you always give me really good stogies because Arnold Schwarzenegger is a huge cigar fan.
Oh, yeah, big time.
And he's like, you always give me the good stogies, so I'm going to repay you back. And he's like, yeah, and we smoked these, and they're really good. And we go back to set, and the director says action, and all of a sudden I can't talk. Turns out Danny DeVito laced them with marijuana.
Joke's on you.
I thought that was one of the funniest stories.
That's hilarious.
I love Danny DeVito, dude.
I do too.
He always has those really funny moments like that. And I thought that was a great story. And I think it's pretty relevant to the podcast because we should look into what kind of cigars Arnold Schwarzenegger
smokes.
I
think
good.
You think I love Jersey Mike's. Danny DeVito does Jersey Mike's.
They have one in Sherman.
I know. I haven't eaten there yet.
I don't know if I think their grand opening was soon.
Yeah, it was just a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it wasn't too long ago. But I haven't had the one in Sherman. I'm looking forward to trying it. I love Jersey Mike's. Sorry, Yeah, Danny DeVito, but I always
Those are really good commercials.
Yeah,
he's a really good spokesman for that.
He's a really good spokesman in general, just for anything.
I like the Firehouse subs.
Firehouse Subs in Durant is very good. And if you haven't been there in a while, I don't know what they did in the last year and a half, but because there was a point where I tried it a couple times. The bun was soggy and stuff. I hate soggy buns. It just like it drives me crazy. But it's been very good, and I love Firehouse Subs. Don't get me wrong. So, not saying I'm not.
And I'll admit I've had Jersey Mike's one time, and it was an ex that I had, and she was like really hyping it up for me. Then we had, and I was like, I mean, this tastes like a really good sandwich, but I don't know. And I might have just got the wrong thing. And I was actually a really big Quiznos.
What did you get?
I don't remember. It was some kind of
Italian at
dude. This was like 20. This was like 20.
Fire.
2013 or something. This is a long time ago. That was the last time I had Jersey Mike's. Okay. So that tells you. This is why I live in Oklahoma City, and I was a huge Quiznos fan. We had a Quiznos there in Oklahoma City. And actually, I'm kind of disappointed that they closed because I thought they were always better than Subway. I don't know what happened there, but
anything's better than Subway.
Yeah, I mean, I like Subway's meatballs, but I don't.
Meatball is a meatball.
Meatball.
What you do talking about? But anyway, so all right, we're gonna move on from Neat and Balanced, and we're gonna do to Last Call with the Bourbon Nerds. We actually have quite a bit to talk about. So
yeah, we have a little bit. Yeah.
So let's start out with Balcones. So Balcones sent us a bottle to review and enjoy, and I'm really
it was
excited.
really cool. So I reached out to Balcones and asked if we, I was reaching out. I've been reaching out to a few different places and asking if we can do, interviews with the distilleries because we had Hochtown, we have Iron Root, but we don't really have anyone past that. We have a few different hits that we're going to try to follow up on. But I was reaching out to a few different places. Balcones is one. They're the only ones of the like three I reached out to that emailed me back, and it was their, who was it? It was, hang on, let me look real quick. It was their, it wasn't Balcones, it was the people representing Balcones, like like an agency essentially. And she was like, we respectfully decline your interview, but we would like to send you something. And so they sent me this bottle, which is really cool. It came in a really cool package. It came in a really cool message. Although
hashtag they're not a sponsor.
I didn't really notice until I posted this, but it said that it says, we hope you enjoy this bottle of Catalea Texas single malt. And I'm looking at this and it's the Lineage Texas single malt. So they posted one thing and then they sent me a different thing. I don't know what happened there, but so they sent me a Balcones Lineage Texas single malt whiskey. It's pot distilled, 47% alcohol. We're going to do this on a video and fresh crack it, but it was really cool that they sent us something. It was the first, distiller that sent us anything. So that was a cool little moment.
Well, to be honest, I mean, Hochtown gave us some bottles, which we'll review, and
some signed bottles. He signed them.
I signed them, which I really don't want to drink, man. I'm sad.
That interview will be out when this episode releases. So if you haven't listened to our Hochtown ones, please go back and listen to them because it's really amazing.
Yeah.
Part 1 was with Rod, who's the production manager. That one's really fun, and then the second part is with Owen McDaniel, and he just lays his heart out there, man, and just talks about some really interesting things you wouldn't know about Oklahoma laws and becoming a distillery. Like it was very enlightening and a very fun experience. So please go back and listen to those episodes if you haven't yet.
Yep. 100%. Could not agree more.
Also, we had a recent Super Bowl drop at Black Tie McKinney. We'd never been there before. Which we usually go to Lucky's, and after it all was said and done, we probably should have just went to Lucky's. That seemed pretty cool.
Probably kept true to our word.
Black Tie had. I'm sorry. Let me pull up these names real quick. But Black Tie was really cool, and we got to meet some really cool people.
Yeah,
the Bourbon Bros were there. So Damon with Open Season Operator, he has a YouTube channel, a hunting video, and he was really cool. And he actually filmed a video, and Cody ended up on the video. So if you get a chance to go check out Open Season Operator, and you get to see Cody looking for, oh, I gotta find a $25 bottle. Did you go watch that?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
You didn't see yourself? You're on camera.
I know. I believe it. I didn't know he was filming, but that's funny.
No, he was.
Where's my $25 bottle? I can't find it.
And also Kyle from the Bourbon Bros.
Yeah. Kyle was great. He made food.
Yeah, he made a
my
brisket
God.
and he made some
Pulled pork.
and
And the
elote.
elote.
That
The
elote was
elote. Okay,
amazing,
so
dude.
this guy's all right. And if anyone knows me, we haven't talked a lot, and I'm sharing probably too much. I get a little too personal sometimes, but so the Mexican culture is obviously really important. My fiance is Mexican, but his elote, I literally thought I was in Mexico.
That's probably the best elote I've ever had.
Outside of Mexico, yes.
I've never had it in Mexico, so I don't have a reference from Mexico. But it is the best elote I've had. It was very good.
Kyle, you did a great job on that.
It was really good, and the brisket was awesome.
And he shares an OKI, one of the store picks.
11 years.
11-year rye. Oh my God,
it was good. It was very good. He said he had a couple bottles left. We'll have to hit him up and see if we made me get a bottle of that.
Yeah.
But that was good stuff.
You weren't there, but he shared with me. The guy, I guess, that owns the liquor store, the Black Tie liquor store, had a private barrel of theirs. It was
of OKI.
Yeah, it was out. It was a private barrel, which he's not releasing. It's like it literally is personal barrel. It was so freaking good.
Man, that sucks. But at least you got to try it. I'm glad you got to try it.
Yeah.
Which to be fair. So the organization for this event was not great.
No, it was not great
compared to other places. So it was just kind of like, all right, you get your tickets or you get your little, whatever you're picking up, and then everybody rushes in and does everything all at once. Whereas Lucky's, they're going to let you in a few at a time, get your stuff. So we're there an extra probably hour and a half because I was being indecisive. I grabbed, one bottle and I was like, oh, I don't know the other, couple, $25 I'm going to spend on. I ended up getting a cigar, which I
got a Cohiba, which is
Cohiba.
You got a phenomenal cigar.
Yeah, I'm going to smoke that for the Super Bowl tonight, baby.
Yeah, I need to grab, remind me to grab a couple cigars before we leave.
Yeah,
because I want to smoke one too.
Yeah,
as well.
But so it took me a little longer to figure out what I wanted to get, and which is cool because Theron ended up showing up and he was kind of at the end. And
I love that guy.
End. Yeah, Theron's great, dude.
I can't wait.
Theron got me this blendery blend, which is this is Jeopardy. And this thing is delicious, man.
It tastes like chocolate cake.
Yeah, it does taste like chocolate cake.
No exaggeration. Like you get
like a
with caramels and apples and all those. No, it's tastes like a chocolate
Someone said like spicy chocolate cake, and I was like, yeah, exactly.
Spicy
like
chocolate cake,
yeah. Spicy chocolate cake.
100%.
It's awesome, and I'm really appreciative of Theron grabbing me.
Yeah,
this.
why is this bottle so special?
So some of the proceeds of this went to my former teammate Will Robinson. And I really wanted to own a bottle because he was, as a former teammate, we weren't close friends, but when you're a teammate with someone, you're a teammate for life. So
amen.
I really saddened by that whole string of events, and it meant a lot to me to own this bottle, and I really appreciate Theron, going out there and picking it up for me. He's a super good friend. It's really nice to have those kind of people in your life that really do stuff to truly help you out. So
yep. And
it's
just
really
an amazing guy. Like
we're doing the blendery next month with him and with Ty, and it'll be a really good time.
It's a representation of why we love bourbon.
Exactly.
The community's caring, giving. There's been a lot of charities going on lately. I've been trying to contribute and a part of those. And just to grab a bottle for somebody, like we haven't known him that long. Like we've only known him like 6 months, maybe.
Yeah, but I think we just I think people kind of realize what we're about. And I think they realize we're not here just for the bourbon. We're here for a more of a community.
Yeah, 100%. That's why we're doing this. We're not in this to make money. Like if anyone thinks differently, you're wrong. We're not. We hope we make money, but that money will go to
just right back into the channel,
right back into the community. Like I'm not trying to make a dime off of this.
I mean, my goal was to build a bourbon nerds community. Like I was actually having an idea coming over here because I was listening to another episode and mentioned fantasy football. It'd be really cool to do a bottle share fantasy football draft.
100%.
A bourbon nerds fantasy football.
If you want to do a fantasy football league with us, stay tuned because we will be, and our Patreon will be up very soon. So, a couple other things I want to talk about in last call though is Jack Daniel's 14 is supposed to be coming out any day. I haven't seen anybody posting about it.
I've seen some places outside of Texas.
Yeah, outside of Texas.
We're looking for it. I think Texas always, it seems like they always get stuff last, so we're on the lookout for it, but I don't think it's released down here yet.
1924. I've been seeing people post about that. That's a really good bottle. If you have not had it, it is a little pricey. It is worth it. I promise you, it does
Just to
well
have
in
one,
blinds.
one bottle. You don't have to back it up if you don't
No.
want, but I think owning one bottle is worth it.
It is so good. And every person, when it first came out, it was a very controversial bottle, but every whiskey tuber, including myself and Garrett, we love that bottle. Absolutely.
We do.
It's very good.
It does pretty well in blinds that I've seen. It didn't do as well in ours, which I haven't posted that video because I think we might end up redoing it. So
you should post that video, but we will redo it. I had a lot of congestion. For whatever reason, we did a fire and we were out in the woods, and I'm getting older, so my allergies. But regardless,
as of this recording, this video, that video might be out, or we'll see. We'll revisit it and see.
Eagle Rare.
I was about to say, I want to get your opinion on this Eagle Rare news. What are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling upset because it's 95 proof.
Yeah, so if you're gonna, so for those who don't know, Eagle Rare announced that they're going to release a 12-year that's 95 proof. Still a little bit higher proof, but it almost feels like you're still milking that Eagle Rare. Like it was originally a 101. Please, why not release it as a 12-year 101? You know what I mean? I don't understand why you're going to do a different Eagle Rare release and it still only be 95 proof. It just, to me, it doesn't make sense. Also, I wanted to clarify because we talked about the Weller 18 on another pod. That is 100% wheat whiskey, which I don't understand at all. I don't know why you're doing 100% wheat whiskey 18-year, but I don't know. I guess you guys know something we don't.
Hey, if we can get our hands on one, I'd love to review it and give you our honest opinion of it. And then I know you wanted to talk about the A. Smith Bowman.
Yeah, the A. Smith Bowman just released. You say I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to kind of mention that it was out there and be on the lookout for it. I've heard it's very good.
I haven't had it.
Yeah, I know a lot of the Bowman stuff ends up being like Buffalo Trace Distillate. I don't know if all their stuff is the Blanton's High Rye, Buffalo Trace Distillate, but yeah, I've heard the A. Smith Bowman is very comparable to some of the high end Buffalo Trace stuff. It's higher age, higher proof, so can't go wrong there. I know the John J. Bowman's delicious.
The John J. Bowman is better than Blanton's ever thought about being, and I like Blanton's.
We need to do a John J. Bowman with Rock Hill Farms side by side because I think those are two of the. Because I think Rock Hill Farms is kind of the better end of the Blanton's distillate.
Sure.
So I think
I've never had Rock Hill Farms. I have a bottle.
I have mine open.
Yeah,
but
we can try. We can open my John J. Bowman and we do.
I've kind of realized the John J. Bowman I own is an older John J. Bowman because they've done newer labelings since then.
Oh, okay. Yeah, interesting. Well, a couple of, I mean, we want to keep closing this out, but I'm not ready to. But one thing that is true with what we're doing, so we just tried Full Proof and the single barrel side by side. I do think, and it's a slim margin, that the Full Proof is the best of all the ones we've had today. We're going to do a video that includes the 12-year because I need to know which is the best 1792 product. But that single barrel is fire and it's really good. And I want to just state that the 1792 products are very consistent and they're very good and you should try them. And I highly recommend a lot of them. So I wanted to say that. And also, too, exciting news for the Bourbon Nerds. We do have a Facebook group. We're trying to grow. We want to grow with the right people, though. We don't want everybody just jumping in because you want to jump in. We want to grow with the people that want to be a part of our community that we're trying to create in the Texoma. We're going to be doing some events. We're going to be doing quite a bit of stuff to add value and, again, be a part of the community.
That's a little farther down. I know we don't have anything currently planned, but that's our goals that we want to do, by the end of this year for sure. Right now we have the Blendery and the Whiskey Fest going on in March, and then April, I think we're going to have a little bit of a break, and then May, you're getting married. So
April's going to be pretty busy. May is going to be more of a break, but we'll keep you posted. Yeah. We've got things coming down the pipelines. We got a lot we're talking about, a lot we're working on. I mean, obviously it takes a lot of money to get this stuff going, some of this stuff, but
so that's why it takes us a little more time. And, being self-funded, it's not easy to get everything kind of all at once.
Yeah. And we don't want to just say, oh, please give us money. Please donate to us. We're trying to we want to add value. If you're going to pay to be a part of our community in a Patreon, we're going to add value to your life. And that is a commitment you have from both of us and that we're going to stand by. So that's why we don't have a Patreon yet, but it is coming very soon. Merchandise is around the corner, and that's what I wanted to talk about next. Is we are rebranding our logo, which I'm very excited about. We're looking to finalize that in the next coming days, and you'll see we're going to have merchandise built around it. I think you'll be excited what we're coming out with.
Which by the time this comes out, our logo should be close to finalized.
Yeah, if not,
so
done.
We should be getting pretty close to merchandise and stuff.
Yep, for sure. So again, a lot of exciting things happening, and we will have events that we will be planning soon enough. I've got a couple ideas, video to come soon on our podcast. We've got some videos posted now, but you'll see a lot more coming from us from that perspective. We know we want you to see us. We want you to be a part of us, and that sounded weird, but
I want you to be in me.
Won't you?
Feel good about me.
I was gonna do the big chef from South Park.
Well, what does he say?
I don't know. He sings a lot about.
Oh yeah, he sings some weird. He sings some interesting stuff.
The salty. I wasn't gonna do the salty. Yeah, I wasn't gonna do that. But he has some other songs. But it's been a minute since I've seen this. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for being a supporter. Thank you, man. I can't tell you how much. I got a couple more things to say. So I just took my mom out for her birthday to dinner, which is really funny. And she just listened to the podcast finally, and she loved.
Jeez,
I know she loved it, which made me happy. For my mom to be appreciative. Obviously, if anybody has a mom, they know. But she corrected me on something that I think is really important. My son beat Mario when he was 2 years old, not 3 years old. So, which is the bigger achievement.
Which is really hard to believe because
it is.
Nobody remembers when they were 2 years.
No, they don't.
You can't even hold a controller when you're 2.
Dude, apparently she was very adamant. She was like, "No, son, you beat Mario when you were 2. That's why it's a big deal." And I was like, "Okay." I was like,
"Why
"All
aren't
right,
you in
Mom."
the Guinness books, bro.
I should be in the Guinness book. Well, it was 1987. So when I was
1989. Woohoo!
Now I just gave my age out.
Golly.
Delete that from the records, Ethan, because I don't want people knowing my age.
No, don't do that.
But
anyways, don't you dare take that out.
We're so excited to bring you good content. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope you've enjoyed our past episodes. We're trying to get about 15 total episodes in season 1 that we're going to do. We'll take a small break and focus a little bit more on videos. But again, we appreciate everyone. We met some great people in the Super Bowl drop at Black Tie.
Yeah, it's getting really cool when people are like, "Oh, you guys are the Bourbon Nerds." Starting to get kind of recognized. It's really, and obviously we're not like super popular. We're not.
We've got like 6 fans,
like
man.
Mr.
Come on,
or anything. But like it is very cool, and and all we want to do is we just want to talk and interact, and we want to share bourbon and have a good time. That's all we really want. We're not trying to look for anything special. We're not looking for special treatment or anything like that. We want you to come out and talk to us on drops. And I'm seeing people in comments like, "Hey, you guys are the Bourbon Nerds." Like, "Hey, I'm going to come say hi." Like, sure. Yeah, man, come say hi. Come
absolutely.
Talk to us, man. Like,
we're real people, man.
It's really cool. And it's really,
we're just like you. We have a dream to bring people together and share and enjoy and love what we all are passionate about. That's what this is all about. It's a dream. And again, we've talked about Someone Say Whiskey. That's a great group. If you haven't joined, you should join. You should join our Bourbon Nerds group.
And there's the Bourbon Bros. The Bourbon Bros.
The Bourbon Bros, which I want to do a pick with them now. I told Kyle, I was like, "Dude, sign us up. We're in. We're ready." That's a dream of ours this year, to bring you guys a pick that we will put our blood and soul on, that is going to be phenomenal. So stay tuned, stay with us. We've got so much exciting stuff happening. We've got an interview we're doing on Monday with Iron Root, making some of the best whiskey in the world. We've hang out with Randall Sullivan, who took us through tried some of the greatest whiskeys I've ever had in my entire life.
I'd love to get Randall on the podcast to talk about. He
has to be on the podcast.
One of the co-owners of Prideful Goat. I think that'd be really
Prideful
cool.
Goat, Real Talk Bourbon.
On YouTube. Yeah.
So
really cool guy. We talked to the Bourbon Hunter. I think he would be really cool to have on the pod.
Yeah.
He seemed really excited about maybe collabing with us.
We're starting to get in a position where people are fighting to want to be on our podcast. And I say fighting, but not so much Like we're so popular.
Like people are excited
special.
to come on.
Yeah.
I think more than fighting. I think people are excited to try
Fighting. They'll fight to the
to
death.
fight to the
Like-
Mortal Kombat. But no, like, and I was, if you see us out and about at drops, just come out and, you know, we're just regular dudes, you know, as one of my favorite quotes is, I'm a dude, he's a dude,
I'm a dude, she's a dude, we're all
you know,
dudes.
so come out and hang out and say hi, you know?
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope you guys are enjoying the Super Bowl with your family, friends, somebody enjoying some great whiskey, and we will be doing the same. This is us signing off, and I'm Cody.
I'm Garrett.
And we are the Bourbon Nerds.
Good night, guys.
Take care.